according to the weather, this is the hottest day that we've had this year. And we're not really in that much drought stress right now. We're in pretty decent shape as far as rain goes. But it is just so hot that it's got these plants rolled up. I'm out here scouting crops, and you can see that I probably should have gotten a little further out with my pre-emerge. The weeds, there's squash are clean, the beans are clean, in between kind of sucks. This is called Morning Glory. There's nothing glorious about it, and I believe that my pre-emerge plan is going to have to adapt to the Morning Glories. And I hope a wind noise is not terrible in this video, but the Morning Glories have just escaped our pre-emerge for the past couple of years, and they've really gotten out of hand. I think we're going to try some Sandia in the future as a pre-emerge. You can spray it over top of squash and cucumbers, but I think we are going to try it as a pre-emerge on all of our cucurbits to try to cut down on some of this junk. Fortunately, they're not too bad out in the squash, but the row middles, anywhere they got some sunlight, buddy, they took advantage of it. But I'm just scoping out. I'm looking for any kind of disease pressure, insect pressure, but I'm also checking to see how far the crops are along and when we can start picking, so forth. These spaghetti are not really yielding all that great in this plastic for some reason. Typically we will have spaghetti squash just piled on top of spaghetti squash, and it's not looking like that at all in this plastic this year. Butternut is just incredibly resilient, and we have got some butternut on here, still blooming, still got some little butternuts. They're not really stacked up in here, but butternut, they're just the most resilient cucurbit. You can stomp them to death picking them, and they just keep putting on new squash. So not really worried about the yield. We got some starting to turn brown here. Check that out. It's looking good. That's good size too. We've got a little bit of weed pressure right there through that low place. You can kind of see like a figure 8 in the field. Other than that, the beans are looking really good. I've got 6 or 8 bean fields that I need to go look at, and I'll take y'all with me to see what they're doing. Acorn squash, it is ready. What concerns me about this heat wave that we're in right now is when the heat rolls these leaves up like this, they're just oppressive, and they're just trying to go into preservation mode. And so the leaves roll up, and because of that, the fruit gets more sun. Well, hard squash is subject to sunburn, particularly the acorn squash. It's probably the worst to sunburn. Here is our red curry. Man, they're pretty. I bet you if we don't move all these on the wholesale market, these will sell great right alongside our jack-o'-lanterns. And they're pretty. Look at that. And it is loaded. The field is just laying full. I'm a little bit concerned. I was talking to my buyer this morning, and she said they're looking for like 7-inch diameter. we're gonna have to, I'm gonna have to call her back and talk about that. I ain't got a 7-inch diameter out here. Right here's one that's about 14-inch diameter maybe. As far as disease and insect pressure, I'm not seeing any. It looks really, really great. I mean, when you can look across your field and you don't see any yellowing or browning at this point in the crop, that's pretty awesome. Now if this heat don't let up soon, stress always opens, it's kind of like a human. When your plant gets super stressed, it opens the door for the plant to get sick. Just like you, if you're stressed out, more likely to get down, get sick. But yeah, we need the temperature to let up just a little bit. Beans are looking snazzy, waist deep. Well, I've just discovered something else that mare's tail, this lovely plant right here, is resistant to. I really thought that AIM, a high rate of AIM, would kill this, but it will not. Roundup plus AIM cleaned everything out in here except for the mare's tail. Killed that lamb's quarters dead as a hammer. This is a pretty accurate representation of all of our soybeans here at the home farm. And you know, plant height is really not necessarily a good indicator of yield, but that looks pretty good to me. They are, as long as we continue to get some rain, this is the stage we're at, still flat, but you can see, I don't know if you can see it or not. Maybe you can see the beans starting to develop inside the pod. So, big thing is now we just really need to continue to get some rainfall so we can feel these things out. But overall, they're looking pretty dang good. And I'll show you some when we go over to the other side of the county. Some beans that are not looking this good. Alright, we've got plantings number 2 and planting number 3 of sweet corn over here. Planting number 3 I just sprayed with Roundup a week or 10 days ago, and it looks like it cleaned it up. As you can see, things don't always get done exactly when they need to be done around here. That may or may not surprise you, but we got to let the weeds get a little bit out of hand, mainly the grasses. This was sprayed with atrazine, but shoot, this third planting, wow, it's coming along we're nearly ready to start pulling off this third planting. Let's take a look and see what this ear looks like. There's still a lot of white silks out here. That's a pretty nice ear of sweet corn right there. That's pretty tasty. Speaking of things that are easily sunburned, out here in our eggplant field, and I was told by a buyer this morning that eggplant's not really selling this year. People got overloaded with it last year and they're just not buying as much of it. That's not what I wanted to hear. We don't have a ton of it, but we've got enough of it to make that a little concerning. But it'll be all right. We'll either sell it or bush hog it, one of the two. See, when you don't have adequate foliage, you have an eggplant sitting out in the sun like this, it starts getting kind of a pinkish purple instead of black like it is on the other side. And then it might not show when you pick it, but once you pick it, put it in the cooler for a day, you end up with an eggplant that looks like this one here. Get a brown spot on it. And they are not happy when QC opens up boxes and finds eggplant that look like that. I believe deer have run through my eggplant. They wiped out the strings and knocked down part of the plants. If you are unaware of my disdain for white-tailed deer, go back and watch my strawberry videos from this spring.